Hey, good morning, it's Jana. So today I'm going to show you how to knit the cuff and then how to roll the cuff over, pick up lower stitches, and attach everything together using what's three needle bind off. I'm a little late uploading this today, so thanks for your patience. We had found a little abandoned kitten in the barn, and so we're feeding it with a dropper and trying to kind of nurse it back to health. I'm not sure if it's going to make it or not, but you can watch the farm video for information on that if you're interested. So that's why the delay, though, nevertheless. So let's move on to the cuff, part 3, the cuff. All right. Congratulations, you have finished the top of the foot or the instep. So now we're moving on to the section of the pattern where we're going to knit the cuff. And the instructions say to change to your contrasting color if you'd like to, and that can be the same color as the sole here to make them match, or a different color if you want. So you'd have 3 colors, or you can use a novelty, those foofy fuzzy yarns or whatever you choose. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do the same colors I made with the sole, and I've attached it the same way that I did before, where I just did a simple overhand knot here, and I'm just sliding it up. Not too terribly tight because I don't want it to cinch down on that cable and then make it difficult to slide onto my needle later. So the instructions tell me to just knit around, and then you're going to purl 5, and that's what will make the bumpiness. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then I will show you how to roll the cuff down and attach it to the base. So we'll get to that in just a moment. So I'll go ahead and do that and be right back. All right, now that you've knitted 1 row and purled 5 rounds of your cuff, it's time to pick up the stitches on the inside, and then we're going to roll this over and attach it. So it'll be a rolled cuff and it will look like that. So the way we want to do that is now you're going to take a separate needle. You can either use I'm going to just use the one I had before, the same size, 13. Sometimes it's easier though to use a little bit smaller size of a needle, so that's why the pattern calls for that size 11. And I'm just going to go along and I'm going to pick up the same color of the one I had, and I'm going to pick it up around the back and behind like this so that it ends up facing the right direction as if it's a knit stitch. So I'm picking it up from the top to the bottom rather than from the bottom to the top. See how that makes it face the other direction? So I want to go from the top to the bottom so that it places it on the needle with the right leg forward. Okay, so I'm going to go around and I'm just going to pick up those darker gray colored loops all the way around. And like I said, this is a little bit challenging with the needles that I have, just because, first of all, I've had this pair for years, so they're a little blunted. They're not as pointy as I might like. You can also, like I said, you can also use a little bit smaller size 11 needle to make this easier if you'd like, because gauge isn't particularly an issue at the moment. So I'm just going to go around and finish picking these up, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, excellent. We've picked up our bottom loops all the way around. This is the top needle where we finished knitting our purl rows. We've picked up everything all the way around, and now I've worked the needles so that I have the left needles together, and I'm ready to I'm ready to do a 3 needle bind off is what this is actually called. I'm going to use the right working needle rather than the other bamboo one, just because this is a little more pointy. My bamboo ones are pretty worn. So what I'm going to do is go in this first stitch as if to knit, and I'm also going to go in the metal needle as well. And I'm going to take my working yarn, wrap it just like I'm doing a knit stitch, and I'm going to pull it through. Okay, pull it through both of those if I can get a hold of it here. Pull it through both of those, and then I am going to go ahead and lift it off. Okay, both of those and off. Okay, and you can see that I have my stitch here. So I'm going to do that to the second set of stitches as well. Pull it through and off. Now what I want to do is take one of these needles, it doesn't really matter which one, I just tend to use the one closest to me. I'm going to grab the first loop that I have, pull it over the second, okay? So now I'm binding off at the same time. Now I just have one stitch on this needle. Again, you'll go in and in. So you're going in through both of those. Wrap counterclockwise like you're knitting. Pull your loop through both stitches, lift them both off the needle. Go into the first one, the right handmost stitch, lift it up and over, and there you go. So in effect, we're knitting both of these stitches together and we're binding off at the same time. It's called a 3-needle bind off because we're using 3 needles to accomplish this. What this does is make a nice finished edge. It connects both of those lines of stitches, if you will. It connects everything together securely, and it, whoopsie, okay, let's not panic. If that happens, you just go back and pick everything back up. Okay, I've got both stitches here. There's the one, there's the other one. Okay, so wrap, pull it through, and then pull this first one over. So this just knits everything together and binds it off all in one pass around. Okay. So does everybody see how that works? You can leave a comment below if you have questions. I'll go through it a couple more times, maybe a little bit more slowly. I'm working my stitches back around and up. You have to kind of keep adjusting. And like I said, this bottom one's going to be a little bit tight where I picked up. That's why the pattern suggests using a size smaller. So last time, in both of those stitches as if to knit, wrap around counterclockwise, pull your loop through, grab the stitch that's behind or to the furthest to the right, up and over and through. Okay, so I'll continue doing that. You can see that that folds it over, attaches your cuff, and it makes a nice finished edge on there. So I'll finish doing that and then I'll come back and show you how I'm going to end this. I'm getting down to my last couple of stitches here on my 3-needle bind off. When I've reached the end and I've gotten down to my last stitch, as I just have, then you're done. You've got the cuff, and we will weave all these ends in later. I'll show you about that. But what I usually do here is, again, I just leave, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, and I go ahead and cut that. And then I simply pull this through, pull the end through. And then what I'll do later is I'll take my darning needle or my big, wide sewing needle. And there's a bit of a gap there from when we had things tied in the round. But what I'll do is simply take my needle and I'll weave this through and kind of cinch everything up, and I'll secure this tightly. And so that's just part of the finish work that we'll do here in a little while. But that's all you do for the cuff. So that turned out really well. It looks nice. It's a rolled over cuff. It's definitely secure. So what we need to do now is follow the instructions, and you can go ahead and sew this together using a mattress stitch if you like. All I generally do is take these tag ends, use a larger darning size needle, and then I just do a mattress stitch. I just go in, out, in, out, in, out, all the way down. And that's also why I like to leave a long tail here so that I have enough to do that, to stitch all that together. This one's probably not long enough, so I will probably need to cut off another length of my darker color in order to sew the sole together. So I like to go ahead and do that at this point. Then I weave in all my ends. I will probably, go back and forth here and secure that better. I kind of like to have the inner part of all that done before I knit the next sole piece to go on the outside. One reason I like these slippers so much is because it is double thickness on the sole. It feels really lovely, comforting, and squishy on your feet, and it also tends to wear a little bit longer. So yay, it's definitely starting to look like something. So okay, part 4 will be attaching that second sole. So join us for that.